technology. All right, we should
Oh,
be live now.
I saw your message in the group chat, and yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the addition.
Okay. We'll see. My guess is that like he's probably up for it, but we'll be like, I don't feel like playing today, and so I'm gonna have to talk to him about that because otherwise we'll just I don't know. I don't know how it would work. Hey
Yeah,
everybody,
it'll
how's it going?
be interesting.
There's a bunch of people here. Good to see
Hey,
you all.
folks! I have a new co-host today that's running the ones and twos, hitting all the buttons.
The ones and twos. That's right. Oh my goodness. It's Lloyd with some kid. Yeah. Oh,
hmm
trust me, because we put out an episode of On Deck yesterday, and I saw all of the comments.
All the
So
jokes.
people, it's like one person was like, "Why did you shave? I hate it." And I was like, "Well, I shaved my face, not yours. I don't know. I don't know what you're so upset about." And other people were like, "Bill looks so young." Um, so basically, CDC guidelines are saying that I'm going to have to wear a mask when I go back to work in a month. And so I figured, you know what? I wore a mask for a whole year with a beard, and it was very irritating.
Right.
And like Lloyd knows better than I do, because his beard's much longer. It's just so irritating having that, like, because your beard kind of gets wet throughout the day.
Right here, right here on the side of my face, I have
Uh-huh.
permanent curls now because of wearing masks. And before I would, I have to do like beard maintenance now. Apparently, that's a thing when you have a long beard. So I have
Mhm.
to use conditioner and stuff, and all that stuff. So I would use conditioner, and those little curls would disappear, and I'd be like, okay, I'm ready for another week. But now I'm back at the office every day instead of just twice a week. So yeah, I have like perma curls on the side of my
Yeah.
face, and I just can't wait for them to like grow out so I can snip it off because I it looks dumb. But yeah, masks and beards are not a good thing. Not a good thing at all.
Yeah, and immediately I shaved and I put the mask on. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so much more comfortable, so much more comfortable." So I don't know if I'm gonna stay shaven, but that's the reason why. But hey, everybody, welcome. I hope you're all awesome. Hey, Jem, thank you very much for the super chat. We appreciate it. All right, you want to talk about video games, Lloyd?
I suppose we should.
All right,
People are here for that. I guess we should give the folks what they want.
all right. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stadiacast. I'm Bill, despite what other people might say, and that right there is Lloyd. How's it going, Lloyd?
It is going fantastic, Bill. If you're not watching the video, you have to head over to nerdnest.tv and check out the video for Stadiacast 122. Because Bill he has no hair on his face now.
Well,
He's
I have
shaved his beard.
eyebrows.
Oh, he has eyebrows and eyelashes. I would assume you can't tell from the small image, but I assume you have eyelashes as well. But yes, he's shaved his face, and it looks different. I have all the hair now. Apparently, I've been playing a Metroidvania, and I guess I killed the boss, and I absorbed all the hair from that boss.
Does that make
So
me the
Bill doesn't have
boss?
hair. Yeah, you're the boss now. So I took all your hair, so you're gonna have to fight me to get that hair back.
So now all I can think of is Who's the Boss and Angela and Tony, and that's a great show. If you haven't watched it, Who's the Boss is a great show from the 80s about a former baseball player who becomes the maid of a very smart businesswoman. All right, let's talk about video games, though, instead. Before we do, like Lloyd said, nerdnest.tv, we record this show live every single Sunday at 10 a.m. Just so everybody who is here live with us knows, right after the show, we're playing some D&D live here on the channel. That's going to be available to everyone, but if you are want to watch it after the fact, that's only for members. So if you want to watch it, come live. Otherwise, become a member, like we had a bunch of people do this week. So thank you to all of those people for supporting the show. Speaking of supporting the show, if you want to use the super chat feature to make absolutely sure that we see your message, we will respond to those super chats at the end of the show. We really appreciate that. If you are looking at all those buttons down below, you see the super chat button, you see the join button, you see the thanks button. Those are all ways that you can support the show, so make sure you check those out. And real quick, I want to say thanks to Jack for Jack Deslip for doing another super thanks this week. It seems like he's starting to do that like every single week. We really do appreciate that, and you're awesome. You're fantastic. We appreciate it. Let's jump into what we have been playing. Lloyd, you and I have
Yeah.
both been playing this game, and we have very different reactions to it.
Hmm.
Let's talk about Grime. Grime, for those of you that don't know, is it's like Super Metroid and Dark Souls had a baby,
Yep.
and it's got like the coolest vibe. The art direction is fantastic, but it is incredibly difficult. Souls like combat married with the exploratory features of a typical Metroidvania. I'm loving it, although I feel like I'm hitting a wall right now, but you're not so hot on it. What do you think? Let's talk about Grime.
Well, it's not that I'm not so hot on it. I love Metroidvanias. I love unlocking powers and remembering, oh yeah, there was that one platform way back at the start. I need to go check to see what's up there. I love that. What I don't love is Dark Souls. I don't like Dark Souls games. I've the only one that I've played was Bloodborne, and I got about halfway, maybe three quarters of the way through in Bloodborne, and then I was just like, okay, this is dumb. I'm beating my head against the wall for nothing. I got to stop this. Um, I kind of hit that point in Grime. So, Grime, you're this little collection of rock material, and as you kill other things that are collections of rock material, you absorb that rock material, and eventually you get other powers and things like that. I was having just a blast making my way through. It has a really different mechanic where part of what you part of your attack is a block, because a lot of the enemies will attack you and you get hit. There's no way that you can get out of the way. There's a dash, but some of the attacks, they're hard to dash away from. So you have to hit the block button, and if you block when their health bar has a certain color, it just does damage. If you've unlocked that perk or that ability, it'll do damage. Otherwise, it stuns them and you can get a couple hits in. But when you block when they're past a certain point, you actually absorb them. And you have to absorb each enemy a certain number of times to then be able to use that enemy's special powers. You get these little gems that you can then spend on these special powers. So all that stuff I love, absolutely love. What I don't love is getting to a boss, or a big tough enemy and then dying, and then restarting back at the little stone thing that you punch into to upgrade your abilities, and then having to go through the same section of the level 15, 20 times. I don't like that. And that's just me. It when I game, I don't have a lot of time normally.
Mhm.
My schedule is super like over scheduled. I have always too much going on in a given day. So when I'm trying to make my way through a game and I have to replay the same section multiple times, I'm like, yeah, nope, screw this. I'm done. I gotta bounce. And that's kind of what I did with Grime, with a boss. It's like this friendly faced boulder guy. I can't remember what his actual name is. Harmless Giant, I think, is what the name is, going by my history. And I got to this boss, and I should be able to do it. Everything, I know exactly all the attacks. I know when I have to block. I know when I have to dash. But I just fat finger fumble through it, I guess, and then I die, and I don't like that. So the game itself, I really love. I love the look. I love the feel. I love the world. I love the story that they're trying to tell. I think I know where the story's going, but until you get to the end, you're not really 100% positive. But just the crushing difficulty pretty early on. Like, I'm only
Yeah.
maybe 5 6 hours into the game, maybe 5 hours, and I got to this boss that I just can't beat. I don't know. It just does something to my brain where my brain says nope, and then I nope right out of there, and then I go play a game like Streets of Rage 4, which I'll talk about after we finish talking about Grime.
Yeah, so I'm definitely feeling the same thing that you are running into. Absolutely 100%. However, I feel like because I'm currently stuck on a boss. I'm fighting the Whispering Mothers, which are these two flower lady. things. And like one of the things about Metroidvanias is usually you have to take the long way around, and then after you
Yep.
take the long way around, you unlock a shortcut. And
Right.
so I can go from this my current spawn point, that stone that you punch into. I can go
Hmm.
from that to the Whispering Mother in like 30 seconds. It doesn't take me any time to get there. um
Right.
and then I fight them and then I get killed. But if I want, and this is for somebody who might be struggling with it, if I want, I every time that you go back to that stone thing, all of the enemies except for the bosses are respawned. And so if you're running into issues, you can grind as people do in like JRPGs. You can grind in order to gain more mass, which is the like the other rocks that you're collecting. And you can grind to gain more mass and then turn that mass into better stats to make your damages, your weapons do more damage, or increase the number of like your number of hit points. um, you can also go looking for, they have these monsters that when you kill them, they're a little bit harder to fight. And when you kill them, you get these things called hunt points, and then you
Yep.
can spend those hunt points to broaden out your abilities. So while I totally get, and I'm like, no judgment from me for anybody who hits a wall in this game and says, "Screw this, I'm out of here." I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like I've gotten real close to defeating the Whispering Mothers, and once I get over that hurdle, I'm gonna. I feel like I'm currently at the point where I could beat them, and then once I beat them, I'll be able to continue through and get some more mass, and unlock some more abilities. And I just really, really like this game. The art style is fantastic. I did see a bunch of people complain that it's only 1080p. That I just don't understand that. First off,
Right.
I don't care what the resolution is, but it's beautiful. It's a
Yep.
beautiful game. Like when you kill something and all the little rock particles come out of that thing and towards you, and when you jump, like there's little bits of debris that kind of fly everywhere. It's just
Yep.
a beautiful game. I don't understand why anybody cares what number, how many P's or K's it has.
Yeah, I can see that complaint a little bit. If you're playing like I'm playing, I'm 2 feet away from this 4K monitor. When I play in on my 4K monitor at 1080p, this game looks a little bit muddy in some areas. If I was playing on a TV, I wouldn't see that. So maybe that's where these complaints come from.
Yeah, I've been
Not
playing on
everything.
a TV.
Yeah, so not everything needs to be 4K, but yeah, I understand. I can understand that complaint a little bit. But yeah, like this is a game that I want to love so much because it has um so many of the elements of games that I really enjoy. A story that you have to puzzle out as you make your way through it. Abilities that are doled out slowly over time, giving you access to new areas. Just the world, the look and feel of the world is fantastic. But man, I just I can't. So I what I found through Google is that the boss that I was having issues with isn't even a boss. It's just a tough enemy that I guess you get some hunt points for killing.
Oh,
So
that
maybe
makes sense.
what I need to do is go back through and find out where the actual boss is, and then make my way through the game from there. Because yeah, like I've upgraded a lot of points. I've killed a lot of peons multiple times through
Hmm.
deaths to gather my mass so that I can upgrade. But then the upgrade systems, the other thing that is to me a little bit frustrating because you get these points and you have to spend them, but you really don't know what the points do.
Hmm.
Like your armor is fully cosmetic, so
Yeah, I
putting
had to,
points.
and I had to look that up. It does not
Mm.
tell you that.
Well, yeah, it doesn't tell you that. I've unlocked multiple sets of armor or multiple pieces of sets of armor, and they're just cosmetic. And I'm like, okay, well, these points do nothing for that. So what are the points for? Oh, they give you access to use more powerful weapons. So if you grab a really big stone hammer, it might need 7 strength to be
Hmm.
able to use. And I'm like, oh, that's what it's for. Well, then all the other stuff that I've put into the other points, I can't get those points back. You can unlearn a skill point, I believe. Actually, I don't think you can unlearn a skill point. You can unlearn one of your things that you spent a hunter mark on with
Yeah.
these little pearl things that you can find in the game. So I'm really worried about painting myself into a corner, like down the road near the end of the game. There might be something that requires 20 dexterity, because I prefer the weapons that uses kind of like the dexterity skill. They're a lot faster and they allow you to I don't know, burst in using your little teleport thing, hit a couple times, and then teleport out. I like that type of weapon, but I'm like, okay, well, I need to put points into health. I need to put it into the stamina stat. Apparently, I need to put it into the third of there's strength, dexterity, then another one, because some of the weapons also use that as well. But the game doesn't do a really good job explaining that, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I'm not completely done with Grime. I'm gonna give it another shot. I will kill that stupid thing that's stopping me at some point, but maybe I need to be a little bit more powerful before I go in and do that. So yeah, I not having the best time with Grime. I really like what I like of the game. I really like what I like of the game. I got to get past the points that are a little bit rough around the edges. I got to get some fine grained sandpaper out and buff those things out, I think, and then maybe I'll start to enjoying the game a little bit more.
I feel like, so your points about the skill points, 1,000% yes. Like right now, I have no idea what weapons I'm going to find in the future. And
Yep.
so I don't know where I should put my points, and not being able to, like, I looked it up and you cannot
Yeah.
refund those points. So if I go down the the dexterity line, excuse me, if I go down that dexterity line, like, and I that's what I've been doing mostly. I have no points into strength at this point. If I go
Mhm.
down to that dexterity line and I find this cool thing that requires a bunch of strength, I'm like, well, now what am I supposed to do? I can't use this. And like,
Yeah.
I have a inventory full of weapons that I currently can't use because I don't meet the requirements, because
Yeah.
I put a ton of points into my health pool. I think I have like 9 points in my health pool right now because I don't want to die. Like, enemies hit you and they hit you really, really hard.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been putting points into my health pool and kind of ignoring everything else. I did put some points into dexterity just so that I could unlock this one weapon that required a certain amount of dexterity. And
Right.
another thing that I really like, but they don't explain to you, is different weapons scale differently. So when you're looking at a weapon, it'll say like strength. It'll have the symbol for strength. It won't even say strength, and it's very, very tiny and hard to see. So I don't like
Yeah.
that either. But it'll say strength. It'll say like 8 strength, and then B5. And you look at that and you're like, what does that mean? So where
Yeah.
you're able to parse it out, it means that in order to use the weapon, it requires 8 strength. The B is like a letter grading scale, where
Yeah.
meaning that, if you have a B, that means that it scales with more strength than it does with, maybe it says dexterity, it has a C. So that means the more strength points you have, the better it is for this weapon. The more dex stats you have, it's not going to help as much with this
Right.
particular weapon. And then the number at the end is what you currently have. The game
Mhm.
doesn't explain that at all. Like, I had
Yeah.
to experiment with numbers, and when, of course, when your numbers are permanent, that's like a scary thing. You're like,
It
okay, I'm going to
is.
put a point into here and I'm not sure what's going to happen. Oh, I went from point 2 to point 5. Now I
Yeah.
understand, but
Yeah.
that's definitely a problem. I also want to talk a moment about, yeah, the combat is incredibly punishing, and you die really, really easily, but you don't lose anything when you die. And I think that
Yeah.
this is very, very cool. In previous Souls-like games that I've played, when you get killed, your corpse is left behind, and you have to get back to your corpse without dying, or all of the
Upgrade
currency
currency. The upgrade
that you
currency. Yeah.
had on your character when you died, all of that is gone. If you like,
Yep.
that corpse evaporates.
Yep.
In Grime, when you die, you still have all of the mass that you've collected, and you can spend it right there at the point in order to make yourself a little more powerful
Yep.
before you go back out. So what do you lose when you die, you lose your score multiplier, which I think that this is really, really cool.
Mass
Basically,
multiplier.
what's that?
I think it's the mass multiplier.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so the stat, I can't remember what they call it. It's something that starts with an A, and it goes from 0 to 100,
Hmm.
and that's the percentage bonus that you get. So if you kill an enemy and you get 10 mass, if you have 50, you all of a sudden get 15 mass instead of 10 mass.
Yeah.
And just to cut you off for one more second, I really like this part of the game where you can go into a really, really, really tough place, kill a bunch of enemies, die, but you've kept all that mass that you can then use to upgrade your stats after. I really like that. Unlike other Souls-like games where you can't, you have to escape to upgrade, and you've spent a bunch of time amassing whatever the currency is, and then you die, and it's just like, oh my god, that's more insult to injury. So at least this game doesn't do that.
Yeah, but it also does this really cool thing where there's a risk reward because it's a little easier to kill something than it is to absorb it. So when you, and I don't know the exact numbers, but when you kill something like with a weapon, you will increase your score multiplier. I think it's by 2, and or your mass multiplier. And then if you absorb instead of killing them, which is more risky because if you mistime that, you're going to take damage. And like we said, that damage is very punishing. If you absorb instead, it increases by 3. Now, if you get hit, that that mass multiplier decreases. And if
Yep.
you, like I said before, if you get killed, that score multiplier stays on your corpse. You get back to your corpse and break it back open. You get half of your multiplier back. So
Right.
I love this aspect of the game because I don't feel like I'm losing a bunch of progress when I get killed.
Yeah, 100%. It feels really good in that regards. Like I'm less disappointed when I jump down through a platform and I land on one of those explodey orb things, and I instantly die, and I'm like, oh great, all right, at least I can go back and get half of my A stat thing, whatever the name of it is, back. So that is a really, really good thing. So just to kind of sum up my thoughts, the game is really hard, really, really hard, but fair. And if I had better skills, I probably wouldn't have had so many problems fighting that one alternate boss that I have. So I'm gonna give it more chances. Like I really want to love this game. I love Metroidvanias. That's probably one of my favorite genres these days. So I am gonna get back in. I'm gonna play a lot more. But man, the difficulty is really tough. The one thing that I really hope the developers do, because they've released patch notes a couple times talking about not enough fast travel locations. I haven't even unlocked the ability to fast travel yet, so I don't even know when that comes up in the game. So I'm hopeful that they'll unlock the ability to refund all of your stat purchases so that
Yes.
you can then kind of re-go through that, and maybe make it easier or less expensive to refund the things that you spent your hunter marks on, because I only have 2 of the pearls and I used one to get one of the things back that I thought did something else, but it didn't. Make it so that people can get through your game without locking in bad choices, and then it doesn't really matter so much if you screw up or go the wrong path, because you can always just hit that reset button. So hopefully the developers will do that, because they do seem to be very active. They're posting huge patch notes on their Steam page, so I think that's what they're using to kind of collect all of their more bloggy kind of things, but they put it on their Steam page. So
Mhm.
hopefully patches like that will come.
Yeah. Last thing that I want to say is, in addition to all the stuff that we talked about, the game also has like these consumables that you can get, which are really cool.
Mhm.
Oh, and we never even talked about the breath aspect either.
Oh yeah, that's
So
right.
when you block, you will absorb the breath of an enemy that you are fighting, and if you fill up 4 little breath things, you can then hit a right trigger in order
Mm,
to heal your character a significant amount, which is actually cool.
yeah.
But the reason that I thought of it was because you can get like these consumables called ardent sand, and if you use them, it will make it so it basically doubles the amount of breath you absorb. So there's just all of this risk reward. Like I'm kind of getting low. I'm going to make sure that I'm absorbing a bunch of attacks so that I can
Right.
get that breath in so that I can do a heal. It's
Yeah.
just the game is filled with so many choices, and I'm
Yeah.
100% with Lloyd. It's too hard.
Yeah.
I'm also 100% with Lloyd. You shouldn't be locked into the choices that you've made when you don't understand the full capacity of the game.
Yep.
But I'm also really having fun with it. Now, I did a poll in chat. I was doing these before and I forgot to do that today. I did a poll in chat asking people, what do you think of Grime? And it's actually a lot closer than I thought. I just ended the poll and it disappeared from my screen. So I'm waiting for it to come. Oh, here it is. I said, are you enjoying Grime? 54% said yes, 45% said no. So it's really kind of dividing
Yeah.
the people who are playing it into two camps. And Lloyd and I are both in the camp of we like it, but it's too hard. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to playing more of it. But if I can't get past the Whispering Mothers in the next couple of tries, I'm probably going to set it down and move on to something else, which will make me sad because I really want to explore this really weird world.
One thing that would make the game so much easier, when you collect the breath, not having to wait till all 4 segments are filled before you can get some health.
Yeah.
If you want to put in an easy mode, make those changes. Keep the game the way it is for people that want the hard, but then have an easy mode that you can turn on that allows you to do things like that. Because the amount of times where I've had 3 segments and I'm in the middle of a boss fight and I have a sliver of health left, it's like, oh my god, can I just get 75% of what I would get if I fill that other thing, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a really good thing. I got that stupid, I don't know, kind face older guy, whatever his name is. I got him down to like 3% health. Like he was so low, and I had a sliver, and I'm like, okay, I got to get my health back. I got to find some way to do it. And then I dashed at the wrong time, and his attack hit me, and I was like, okay, I screwed that one up myself. So yeah.
Yeah, I was doing a live stream of the game, and somebody, I think it was Gem, actually clipped, because that's a thing on YouTube now. They
Hmm.
clipped out like a moment where I almost died, and I had like, you couldn't even see how much health was left at the end. Like you weren't sure, is he dead? I can't
Yeah.
tell. He should be.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those moments in the game too. All right, let's move on. 9 to 5 Google did this breakdown of Stadia 3.28, which is the Android version of the app. It's showing off some assistant features, screenshots on third-party controllers, as well as party chat and some other cool stuff.
Hmm.
Real quick, like so when you are playing on Stadia and a cool thing happens and you're not using a Stadia controller, you can't capture that moment. And
Right.
I know that it's a ridiculous thing and it doesn't matter. And 90% of the time when I capture a cool moment, I never show it to anybody. I just capture it and then forget about it. But I always like the idea that I could look and be like, oh yeah, remember when that happened? That was really cool.
Right.
Um, so right now you can only do that if you are using a Stadia controller or if you're using a keyboard by holding down F12.
Right.
And with the the Google TV actually allowing you to use Bluetooth, that means that people are going to be connecting to Stadia using a lot of different controllers because they happen to already have controllers in their house. This is one of the
Right.
best selling points of Stadia is that you
Yep.
can play it using the crap you already have. You don't have to go out and buy a $500 box. You can just play it with the stuff you have. But that means that there's some stuff that you can't do. And when I first saw this, I said to myself, well, like I've got my Xbox One controller here. This is the one that I have on my PC most of the time. It doesn't have enough buttons to do that, but what they're doing is corded buttons. So if you've never messed around with the Steam controller, they have like this Steam input thing where you can set up your own corded commands. So this button does this unless I'm holding down this button, and then it does this. And that seems like what they're doing with other controllers. In this breakdown, it says enable chord key for assist, enable chord key for capture, enable chord key for screen reader. Now,
Right.
The one that I'm confused about is the assistant, because the assistant requires a microphone, and none of these other controllers have mics built in. Does the PS5 controller have a mic built in? I think it might.
I don't know. I'm not sure on that. I think it does, because I seem to remember playing games and you're shouting at the TV, and early on in the place, even the PS4, I think might have had a microphone, but I'm not
Okay.
positive on that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, having the ability to assign that would be the best. I know this is an Xbox Series S controller that I use a lot for when I play, and it has a screenshot button, and then it would also have the home button, but there's nothing for the assistant to bring the assistant up. Maybe those things will only show up if you have a microphone attached or something like that.
I gotta say, I would be a lot more excited about this if the assistant were better. Like, the assistant is fine. I can use it to start a game, but it doesn't
Right.
do, like, of all of the things that, look, I don't want to complain about Stadia because it is my platform of choice. That is where I put the most hours when I play games. I think it's fantastic. And
Yeah.
honestly, if you look at all of the things that it can do, it's really it's really impressive.
Mhm.
But one thing that they showed off that I would have used a billion times between now and then is the ability to hold down that assistant button and say, how do I get past this? Or where do I find the red key? And then have it go find a video on YouTube that says,
Right.
this is how you find the red key. And, you know, you
Right.
can have like, that still doesn't happen. And it's been since, like, they promised this back at GDC of 2018. Am I right? I think so.
Yeah, yeah, and then kind of PlayStation 5 took their thunder by having those little cards that pop up.
Yeah.
So Stadia talked about it, saying we want to do this, and then the PlayStation 5 shipped, and it has all that there, which it works really well on PlayStation 5. It would be nice if you could do that. I mean, they have the power of YouTube behind them, so they don't have to even invent some way to talk to YouTube, because they already talk to YouTube. It's Google. They
Yeah.
know how to talk to their own things. But yeah, that would be better. I would have used that so many times to get past that stupid boss in Grime. I'll call it the Grime key, because I would be using it only in Grime to figure out how to get past things.
Yeah. And people in chat are saying it was 2019. Sorry about that. And there are other people in chat are saying yes, the PS5 controller has a microphone. So that's good to know. But like, that's a feature that would be amazing. And I'm still, and I here's what I'm thinking the holdup is for that. And we didn't plan on talking about this, so I'm going to go on a slight tangent. But here's what I think the holdup is. Stadia doesn't want to surface videos to the user through that system. I'm guessing, unless it's like an approved video.
Mm,
And my guess is, what they, in order to make that kind of thing happen, they have to have buy-in from the publishers, where the publishers are like, okay, here's how you, like, they put out the videos. Hey, I'm
mm.
is it Annapurna that makes Grime?
You who makes? I
Well,
don't
okay,
think.
we'll say developer X. All right, developer X makes a game, and then they say, okay, here's the list of our videos that are up on YouTube for you to hit the button on the Stadia thing, and then we will surface that to you. That way, they have everything nice and clean, and they don't have to worry about somebody, using search engine algorithm nonsense in order to, get their cash for gold ad when somebody's trying to figure out how to get past the friendly giant in Grime. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So the developer is Cloverbyte, but the
Okay.
publisher is Akupara. So very close to Annapurna, but few different letters. But yeah, it would be really good if they need to find some way to make this a built-in, and actually have the button work on every single thing. Work on a Chromecast, work on a Google TV, Chromecast Ultra with Google TV, work on a browser, work on everything, because it currently, I hit it by accident all the time, and it says,
Mhm.
"Oh, you can't use this here." I'm like, well, then why have it on the controller, Google?
Yeah, because so what he's referring to is, if you're playing on the Google TV, they want you to use the Google TV remote button, which has an assistant button on it. But
Yeah.
for some reason, if you hit it on the controller, it's like, yeah, you got to use your remote for that. And I'm like, really? Really?
I'm gonna like crazy glue my controller here so that I have access to all the buttons I'm ever gonna need to use Stadia. But yeah,
Uh,
hopefully this will be done soon.
yeah, here's what I want you guys to do if you're listening to this. Do me a favor. Tweet at Lloyd and myself. He's at Dasme and I'm at Run Jump Stomp. Your pictures of the way that you have affixed permanently or non-permanently
Please, non-permanently.
your Google TV remote to your Stadia controller. I'm very curious in the best way to do it.
If you put it on the back, you could almost use it like paddles, sort of. But you'd have to set it up properly, but maybe that'll work. Please, no one destroy your controller because I made a stupid joke. Please, please don't. But
Yeah.
if you do, send us pictures.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the rest of this APK teardown. So they're this is the wrong damn window. Sorry. So they've got the touchscreen gamepad. They've been talking about the bridge mode where you can plug a controller into your phone and then use that in order to play games on your TV, which is fine. I feel like the number of people who have a Chromecast Ultra,
Mhm.
like that's a very small number of people because it's an extremely niche device, and it's a device that you have to use your phone with. So a lot of people just aren't interested in it. And so if you have a Chromecast Ultra and you play Stadia, the chances are pretty good that you are using a Stadia controller. I'm just guessing. So the bridge mode seems like really important for somebody who has a Chromecast Ultra but doesn't have a Stadia controller, because if you're using a Bluetooth controller, you can just pair it to, a Google TV,
Right.
or any Android TV, and then be able to play Stadia through that. So this is a weird thing. I like the idea of having on-screen controls, not for me, but
Mhm.
for people who want to try it out before they spend $60, $70 on a controller. We'll talk about that price yo-yo in a little bit. What are your thoughts on the bridge mode? Do you think there's a big enough audience for that?
Well, I think bridge mode is useful for people that need some sort of assist when they game. So they have some
Oh, right,
form,
of course. That's so
some
foolish.
reason where the normal controller doesn't work. The bridge mode that was broken out of the version 3.28 is a little bit more interesting. I think you can pair a controller to your phone and then play games that way through the bridge mode. So does that somehow connect to a lot of other things? Like it's I don't know, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting use case. And I guess that would be really useful if you had friends come over and you want to play a multiplayer game. You have a Stadia controller. They don't. They connect to your session through their phone using that what is that mode called where
Couch.
you're Couch. That's right. So they use Couch, and then you say, well, here, take my old PlayStation 4 controller, pair it to your phone, and then you can use that instead of having to use on-screen controls. So on-screen is cool. Being able to pair a controller to your phone and have that connect is cool, but we don't have any examples of this working. So I kind of want to see what Google kind of does with this. The stuff that was broken out of the APK is interesting, but I want to see what actually ships and how Google plans for people to use it.
Yeah, and the old bridge mode was you would plug a thing into your controller.
Right.
This skips over the controller and lets you use the phone instead. I
Yep.
completely blanked on the idea that it would give you access to using controllers that are non-traditional controllers, which is a
Right.
very, very important and awesome thing for them to support. All right,
Definitely.
moving on to the Explore tab revamp. For those of you who forgot, which is me, I forgot about this. A while back, Google made like these announcements, and one of the things that they showed off were like all the different ways that the Explore tab was going to change. Is going to have like a community feed where I can post like my screenshots to all those screenshots that you're going to be able to take with your corded buttons on your Xbox or PlayStation controller. Well,
Right.
now you're going to be, well, when it comes out, you're going to be able to share them on that Explore tab. And 9 to 5 Google found a little bit more information on that. You can see the community feed. You can see or delete your posts. If you posted this capture, it tells you who else can see it. If you posted this capture, it's now hidden for some reason. And then it says you can't undo this later. The public link for this capture will stop working. So my guess is if you you capture something and you're like, oh, I don't actually want that on there.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Although, my first initial thought is if I shared it, who really, why would I ever go back and turn that off? But
Yeah.
one of the reasons might be because the Stadia controller has a microphone built in. I remember at one point it was like, hey, by the way, your captures might have your voice in them if you have this thing turned on. And so if if you are sharing a thing because you saw a cool moment and then you didn't watch it again and then you just shared it, and then
Hmm.
somebody was like, hey, by the way, somebody just said your real name in the background, you'd be like, oh man, I better get rid of that or remove that or
Yeah.
whatever. So that gives you the opportunity to get rid of that, and I think that that's really cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that Google's working on kind of their own mini social network for Stadia, because state share has the ability to be huge for them. The ability to share a screenshot that has my game state with it that people can just click and hit play. If you're doing that all from the same browser window, or hopefully it'll be baked into the apps at some point, so you can use your controller to go up to it on your Chromecast or Google TV, be able to see, oh, Bill's playing Ember now. Okay, I'm going to jump into Ember. I'm just going to click the little button on his state share of the cool thing he did. And it's keeping everybody kind of in the same ecosystem. So I really love this. And yeah, as you said, the ability to post something and then say, oh crap, I said my password out loud for some stupid reason. I need to unshare it. The fact that that is built in makes sense, but it's good that it's there.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Let's talk about I mentioned this a minute ago, the Stadia controller price. This is really weird.
Oh,
So go ahead.
can we do one thing about the
No.
APK teardown on 9 to 5?
Yeah.
There's some new text changes in the APK that talks about Ubisoft
Oh, I forgot
subscription
about that.
changing. And Ubisoft said that once upon a time that you can play on the cloud for free during this trial period as a Ubisoft Plus member. Everyone said, oh, that means they're going to start charging more. I didn't know if that was true or not, but now it looks like it will be true. If it So the actual text says your Ubisoft Plus subscription does not include cloud gaming access to Ubisoft Plus on Stadia. So it looks like there might be multiple tiers of Ubisoft Plus coming for Stadia, and probably Luna as well. So the deal of the century for when Far Cry 6 and all the other Ubisoft games comes out may not be the deal of the century, but we'll learn more as all this stuff gets worked out.
Yeah, I feel like this is. I mean, look, they said that we're going to change this in the future, and everybody ignored that, and
Mhm.
they said, "Oh, I'm going to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus," but now they're Darth Vadering it. I altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it further. I don't like
Exactly.
that. They're not being sneaky about it. Like they told us up front that this was a temporary thing, but I personally don't understand why it should cost more because I'm playing on Google's hardware instead of
Yeah,
hardware that's in my house. That just seems, I don't know,
it's weird.
lame. It's lame.
It's weird. If it doesn't cost me more to actually download the installer from your servers, Ubisoft, why does it cost me more to play it in a cloud that has no data transfer costs associated with it? It's weird, but I guess maybe they're thinking, okay, well, we want to get as much money as possible. The cloud is a new way for us to regain money. We've already lost the battle with used games that people are selling to GameStop and other vendors. Let's bake in some extra gravy for us right off the top with cloud gaming. We'll see what happens there.
There's people in chat who are saying, I'm going to cancel my Ubisoft Plus subscription when that happens. But that just means you're throwing money away. Like, for me, this is why I prefer the Stadia, and I know I'm like a weirdo. This is the why I prefer the Stadia business model over everything else. I prefer to buy the games. Do I subscribe to Game Pass? Yes. But I prefer to just pay money for a game and never have to think about whether or not I can play that game
Right.
again. I don't like the idea of subscribing to Ubisoft Plus, playing these games, and then saying, all right, well, if I want to keep playing this game, I got to keep paying this every month. And yes, I can also play other games, but maybe I don't feel like playing those other games. So for
Yeah.
me, it doesn't make any sense to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus
Yeah. And
or Luna. Uh, well, Luna is a possibility because that gives me the chance to play games that I otherwise wouldn't be able to play, like maybe New World, because if my computer isn't good enough. But I don't know. I just don't understand Ubisoft Plus, and maybe I'm hypocritical because I'm okay with Game Pass, but Ubisoft Plus seems just weird to me.
yeah, Clive in chat, Clive Illenden, a good friend of the show, says something that makes sense as well. It may not be the reason. It could be because cloud is not available in that territory. So if you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus in some country that doesn't have Stadia, you wouldn't be able to access it on Stadia. But then you wouldn't be able to log into the website and do it that way either. So it seems like a really weird message. Hopefully, we'll get some more information about it. But this is just pointing to signs of things that may come to pass, which Ubisoft has already warned us about.
MM2K in chat says, you guys think maybe Ubisoft is splitting money with Stadia for the subs. Now they might not be recouping, but long term they want to make the money back and are splitting.
Could be.
I mean, maybe. Honestly, I don't think an Ubisoft Plus subscription should not have any impact on where I'm playing the game.
Right.
Microsoft shouldn't be getting any money from that. PlayStation shouldn't be getting any money from that. Google shouldn't be getting any money from that. If I want to play games on an Xbox, I have to buy an Xbox. And if I want to play games on a PlayStation, I have to buy a PlayStation. If I want to play games on Ubisoft Plus, I have to pay Ubisoft for that. They shouldn't have any control over where I decide to play.
Right.
So, and the argument against that is, well, it's their friggin' games, Bill. You're not wrong, but I don't see why they need to dip their fingers into this. And
Yeah.
they're going to get away with it because people are going to subscribe to it because that's just what we do. We keep
Yeah.
throwing money after companies that are reaching a little too far into our wallets and say, okay, it's just like my Netflix subscription. Netflix knows I'm not canceling my Netflix subscription. And because they know that, every so often they're like, by the way, we're increasing your price $2 a month. And I'm like, man, you just did that.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I agree with you all on that fully, Bill.
All right, let's move on and talk about this controller. This is really weird. So during and I missed this the first time around because it was like a footnote at the end. It was when they announced they had already put it up on the store, the controller and Google TV bundle, right? But then in the This Week in Stadia, they talked about it at the bottom, and in that it said Stadia controller is now $59.99 US dollars, down from $69.99. To which I
Right.
reacted, it should have always been that price. I understand that it's got some expensive stuff in that, but $70 for the controller I think is a little too expensive. Um I'm happy to pay for it because it's a really really good controller, but I would have liked it to be $60, which is more in line with like an Xbox controller, etc. Although I don't know how much like the next gen controllers are. I'm sure that the PlayStation 5 one is very expensive. But that was a very short-lived thing where it says $59.99. They changed that to, and you can grab a Stadia controller for $69. So it's like they lowered the price and then decided, I mean, it's not just that they typed it in wrong, because they had to change the entire phraseology, if that's a word,
Right.
of the line. Stadia controller is now $60, down from $70, and then they changed it to, and you can grab a Stadia controller for $70. What do you
Yeah.
think happened there? That's so weird.
I maybe left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. Someone misread an email in marketing and said, "Oh wow, this is amazing. We got to get this news out right away." And then they got a call from 7 people saying you didn't put the cover letter on your TPS report, and then they had to change the blog post. Possibly it's that. It's confusing. This whole thing is confusing, but I hope the price does drop because it Stadia controllers are really expensive up here in Canada. And I know I complain about being Canadian, and well, I don't complain about being Canadian. I love Canada. I love being Canadian. I complain about the prices up here in Canada because we oftentimes get the worst of the exchange rates all the time. So buying a Stadia controller up in Canada is like $90. I think it's $89.99 still. Let me double check. Yeah, it's $89. But you get free shipping on your $90
Wow.
controller, so it's a bonus. So yeah, dropping a little bit in price would have been good, but it looks like maybe this is an announcement they wanted to make, but someone made it early. Like, who knows what's happening. But it's weird going from $69.99 to $59.99, then to just $69 even. It's really confusing.
All right, let's move on. This is one that I think most of us have probably already checked out. Not this guy. I haven't. But Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
I know that you're a huge Far Cry fan. You can play
Mhm.
it free this weekend. Lloyd, I'm going to shut up. I want you to tell everybody why they need to play Far Cry 5 before August 9th, because then you have to pay for it.
Yeah, Far Cry 5 was a fantastic title. It's kind of amazing. This game was in development for years, and it came out at a time when the we'll say the political environment in the States was a little bit interesting, and it all kind of like slotted in nicely to some of the stuff that was going on. It's a game where you can have bears attack villages and kill all the people for you. You can get in a plane, or sorry, a helicopter, and fly around. It is a vast open world with a million and one different ways to take on any sort of battle that you have to do. And it's a Ubisoft game, so it has a million things on the map that you have to tick off, which I love in my video games. I love having a big laundry list of icons that are white that I have to turn gray. And this game is like that as well. But the game itself is absolutely fantastic. The gunplay, the story, kind of where it takes you right to the end of the game, where the end of the game was a big surprise to me. So no spoilers, and please don't go search out spoilers if you're going to play this game and beat it, because the ending was fantastic. It's a great game, and jump into it, play it for free, and then you can pick it up because it's on sale. All the different versions of Far Cry 5 are on sale for Stadia Pro members right now as well. So if a few days wasn't enough time, you can buy it for not too much money on the Stadia store. Oh, you're muted.
I'm probably not going to jump into it, mostly because I have so many games to play right now, and I cannot get distracted. And I'm just going to wait for Far Cry 6, and I'll play that one. But if you
Mhm.
are somebody who is listening to this on Sunday, it's tomorrow is the last day that you can try the game for free. So try it now before you can't. Okay. One of my favorite games on my Nintendo Switch is Overcooked. That game is incredible. I love that game. This game, Marik's Market, is giving me some big time Overcooked vibes. It
Right.
looks, it basically just looks like, hey, Overcooked meets running a shop, and I'm very very excited to check this out. We've got a release date for Marik's Market, September 15th, so a little more than a month away. Lloyd, are you excited for Marik's Market?
I am. I how do I want to put this? I call Overwatch or Overcooked the game that ruins marriages. And maybe it's not every marriage, but I know myself and my wife playing that game did not turn out very well because I'm like, no, just do this, and she's like, but I'm doing that. I'm like, no, you're doing the wrong thing. And then she's like, well, don't get mad at me. I'm like, no, I'm not mad at you. I want to get this thing, and we stopped playing the game. So it looks like Merrick's Market is going to be the exact same thing. I don't know if I'm going to play too much of this. I don't even know if it's multiplayer when I'm looking at it. I don't see any reference of multiplayer. I would assume it is because of the screenshots and things. But yeah, this is a game where you're basically running a market, and you have to collect items,
Yeah,
make
it's
items,
sorry, I'm
make.
going to interrupt real quick. It is absolutely multiplayer.
It is. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking at the screenshots, and yeah, it definitely looks like it would be. But yeah, it has like mini games built into it. There's a screenshot that shows a maze that you have to run through,
Yeah.
which I mean, overclock plus mazes would just be crazy. But yeah, it looks really interesting, and it was great to see that it is coming out pretty soon, September 15th on Stadia, but also PlayStation and Xbox. But they put
Mhm.
Stadia first, hashtag Stadia first. So I like that.
Absolutely. I'm definitely interested in playing this. It looks like an absolute blast. All right. Let's see. That's it for the news. Let's move on to crowd play. Now, for those of you that don't know, we've got a Discord server. There is a link in the description down below if you're watching this on our YouTube channel. And um, in Discord has this new thing called threading, where I can make a thread and people can use that thread in order to talk about a specific thing. So what I'm going to start doing is each week, usually probably on Monday or Tuesday, I will make a thread for the next episode of Stadiacast. And if there is a cool story or topic that you want discussed, you can drop it into that thread, and then at the end of that week, I can archive that thread so that it doesn't like clutter up everything, but it also makes it easy for Lloyd and I to go back
Yep.
to and find things that people were talking about, which is really cool. Now, I started this last week and we talked for a really, really long time, and we didn't get to the message that Icon had posted in Discord. He said, this was their question: what is the best streaming device for playing Stadia? The reason for my question: I have a Chromecast with Google TV and an NVIDIA Shield Pro, and it appears the Stadia app on the Shield Pro doesn't support playing games in HDR. The Chromecast with Google TV does. HDR may not be enabled in the Stadia app for other Android TV devices. So I'm going to tell you my opinion on the best place to play Stadia. Lloyd will tell you his, and then if you have an answer to this, please leave it in a comment down below in our YouTube video. For me, I think that the Google TV is the best place to play it because of the HDR thing right there.
Yeah,
But if you
I agree.
go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were leaving it open for me. Yeah,
I am.
I like the Chromecast with Google TV. That's my current favorite place to play Stadia. It's neck and neck with the NVIDIA Shield. I really love the NVIDIA Shield as a device. Stadia works really well on it, and that AI upscaling stuff does wonders to take your games like Grime that are 1080p and make them look 4K when you're playing them on your television, on your 4K TV. So yeah, I it's neck and neck, but I think the Chromecast with Google TV is my favorite place to play. HDR is the winning thing for me there.
Absolutely. And what I will also say is that if you are somebody who's shopping for, like, you're not sure how you want to play Stadia, the the Shield TV Pro, while awesome, is $200, and the Google TV is
Yep.
$50.
Yep.
That, I mean, that right there that's the ball game, as they say in ball game conversations. That's the ball game. It's just so much cheaper. So I highly recommend the Google TV. But you know what? There's probably a lot of other places or other devices out there that we don't know about. So if you have specific devices that you play on, then please let us know. Ahmed says, I have HDR turned on my native Android TV on my Sony TV. It runs very well. So they have a Sony TV that just has Android TV built in. And that means there's a lot of people out there that have Android TV built in. This is something we've talked about in previous episodes.
Yep.
You may not have to buy anything to play Stadia stuff. You may already have a controller and a Bluetooth or a Bluetooth controller and an Android TV, and you're all set. And Justin Lindholm says, well, my TV doesn't support HDR, in which case then it doesn't really matter which one you go with. I would suggest go with the cheapest one because it works. I will say the worst experience though The absolute worst experience is playing on the Chromecast Ultra.
Yeah.
Just because the menus are so sluggish and slow.
100%. I've started playing on a bunch of different devices recently just to test it out. Like I have a 2017 MacBook Pro. I get so much input lag and mouse, like when I'm trying to play mouse and keyboard, like I'll stop hitting forward, like I'll stop holding the, but I still run forward for like another 2 seconds in some games. And then I've tried Chromebooks. I've tried the Chromecast. The one that is the most performant for me is the Chromecast at Google TV. I get better visuals. I have no input lag. I get no stuttering. It just works better for me compared to every other device that I've tried in this house. So I'm a big fan of that device, and I'm gonna have to order a couple more so that I have my other TVs upgraded. Get those Chromecasts out of here and put in the Chromecast at Google TV on all my TVs.
There you go. Thank you very much for the question. Let's jump into all of these super chats that came in throughout the show. We really do appreciate the fact that you all are willing to support us by sending a couple bucks our way. Thank you very much. Most of them are about my beard or lack of. Jem sent in a super chat for $7. Said, "Where's Bill?" with a surprised face. Actually, the face that he picked looks just like me, I think, now that I have no beard.
Very close.
Ruben says, "Lloyd, are you going to do the same? The guy on the left looks fresh. Hope you're training him well, Lloyd. You're going to shave your beard?"
I really want to, actually. My wife doesn't want me to now. Like, this is like a complete 180 for her, because she was like, "Oh, shave that gross thing off your face," when I'd grow my winter beard. Now she loves it. Like, she absolutely loves it. And she's like, "You look really good. You're not shaving your beard." I'm like, "But it's itchy and sweaty. It's really hot out."
Especially in the summertime.
Exactly, right. So I think I painted myself into, speaking of painting things into a corner, I think I painted myself into the corner with, I'm just going to grow a beard because now I can't shave it.
Yeah, but you know what? This is not the what's the word I'm looking for? This is not the facial hair podcast. But when I shaved my beard off, I left the mustache for a day. And
so good.
When my wife saw me, she goes, "I don't hate it." But I kept looking at myself and I just couldn't take myself seriously. So I ended up shaving it off.
Yeah, Bill sent me a picture and I told him he needs to wear a Mario hat next time we do a podcast, which should have been great.
That's right. Consigno sent in a super chat, said, "Love the new host. Definitely doesn't feel like a loss since Bill left. William fits right in. The name is Bill Staffer. Thank you very much." Anthony Talcott sent in a super chat, says, "How do I find hemp? Really hope that game comes to Stadia." For those of you that don't know what he's talking about New World. Absolutely 100% not going to come to Stadia. That's going to be a PC only and possibly Luna game because it's made by Amazon. I don't see them bringing it to Stadia, but I can't I hope that comes to Luna so that people can play it without having a fancy computer, because that game really pushes your computer pretty hard. It's gorgeous and it's really fun. And if you are trying to find where a certain plant is in the game, you can bring up the little menu and it shows you a picture of what the plant is so that you can find it, so that you can go harvest it and turn it into rope so that you can make a bow. That's what I did, and that's what you should do. Jem sent in another super chat. He for the Bill's Beard Fund, and Pride of Man sent in one for the Lloyd's Razor Fund. So
I love it.
You guys crack me up.
I love it. I said a beard emoji. It's really a bear, but I mean, a bear looks like he has a beard sometimes. Some bears get pretty fuzzy around the face. So that worked really well, Jim. Good job.
Oh, yeah, the bear emoji. I didn't even notice that part. All right. Well, that's it for today's episode of Stadiacast. If you didn't know, you can check out that show right over at nerdnest.tv. That's our YouTube channel, along with all of our other stuff. We put out videos throughout the week. We also have a brand new podcast about the Steam Deck called On Deck. Episode 2 just came out yesterday. That's not a weekly episode. It's going to be probably like bi-weekly. And then as more news comes in, we will adjust. I hope that you guys will check out that show. I hope that you check out our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And for those of you that are here with us live, stick around, because we're going to be playing D&D very shortly. All right, we're going to roll some dice and maybe slay some goblins or something. I don't know. Actually, I'm the only one who knows, because I'm the DM.
That's right.
Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Take it easy, everybody. Have a good rest of your week.
go. Save.
Wonderful.
All right. So, we are going to start the let me look. We're going to start the D&D. How long do you need, Lloyd?
I probably need about 20 minutes, so probably by about 10:30 my time we'll be streaming.
Okay. So I had set it for 11:30.
Okay.
So that's my time. So that's 10:30 your time. So that gives everybody a chance. That'll give me a chance to edit the show, get it uploaded and everything. So there is a link in the description of this video right now, everybody. Click on that link. It'll send you right over to our D&D video, which we'll be doing in about a half an hour, well, 25 minutes or so. So we will see you guys there. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Later.